Hi, my name is Perry. Please like and subscribe. The day I was born, my parents shrieked. She is all white. I was so pale that I appeared white, with very light brown eyes and beach blonde hair.
But she's so pretty.
And yes, according to my dad, I was still a stunner. The doctors diagnosed me with albinism. It wasn't life-threatening, but it wasn't going to be easy either. When I was 7, I was playing in the park. Hey, can we play? Go away, Dracula. And with that, she ran away. It wasn't the first time something like this happened. My unusual appearance freaked other kids out all the time. I went to my dad in tears.
Oh, honey, the kids are jealous because you're so pretty.
Pretty? I'm a weirdo. More reason why you should always stay indoors, sweetie.
Don't say that. A few minutes in the sun won't hurt.
Mom just huffed and walked off. My dad always had my back, and I was super grateful for it. Just a few words from him, and I would be feeling like a princess. But my mom was a different matter. I wouldn't really say she hated me, but she seemed to resent any attempts I made to socialize. When I was 8, Dad got a new job, and we moved from our home in Louisiana to Texas.
Come on, honey, I'll take you to school today.
But Dad, it's your first day at work.
It's your first day at your new school, and I want to take you.
You will be late for work, dear. We didn't come all the way here for you to be fired on your first day. She can take the bus.
No, I want to take my sweet angel there myself.
Oh, Daddy. See what I told you about my dad loving me to bits? Mom glared at me as we hugged, and I stuck my tongue out at her. He drove me to school with one of his sleek sports cars, instantly drawing every eye to me when I stepped out. I was very self-conscious. Soon, the teacher called on me to introduce myself. It was my first class in 3rd grade, and I was really nervous, so I fumbled for the words for a while. Perry, my name, Just then, a kid with a bean-shaped head threw a paper plane at me. Hey, Four Eyes, were you born in a cave? As if a bomb had been set off, all the kids started pointing at me and laughing, making fun of my unusual skin. She's like an ugly Snow White. The teacher tried to bring the class under control, but they were really out of it. Just as I was about to run away from the class and find somewhere to cry, a boy stood up.
Hey, at least she's pretty, unlike you, beanhead.
That shut the boy up and quieted the class down. I was glad to return to my seat and stole glances at the boy who had defended me in class. He didn't even look my way. When I returned home, I told my mom everything that had happened. Oh, those nasty brats. But that sweet little boy, what's his name again? Greg. He did well defending you. That was so sweet. I was surprised at the unexpected comfort from her, but soaked it in happily. However, to my shock, when I came downstairs the next day ready for school, my parents told me I would have to quit school. What? Why?
It's the best way to protect you, my dear. You will be homeschooled for now.
But I want to go outside. I want to go to a school where there are other kids.
Yeah, other kids that are mean to you.
They're not all bad. Perry, the answer is no. We are doing what is best for you and make you the most comfortable. This way, you won't have to worry about sunburns or being called nasty names. And just like that, my life was swept from beneath my feet. My parents employed teacher after teacher to teach me. And if they so much as looked at me the wrong way, Dad had them fired. This continued for 8 years. During that time, I developed the hobby of sitting under the pomegranate tree that marked the boundary of our lawn from our neighbors. I would read, and sometimes I would fantasize about the boy from 6 years ago, Greg. It was the only time of day I could do so without fear of being burned by the sun. One evening, I grabbed a book as usual and made my way to the tree. But to my shock, someone was sitting there. Hey, that's my spot! When the person turned to face me, my heart stopped. I would recognize that face anywhere. Greg! He was even more handsome now.
It's my spot now.
He didn't seem to have recognized me. What are you doing here?
Excuse me? I live here.
What the heck? But how? The question must have sounded dumb to his ears because he gave me a droll stare and said,
Are you living underground or something? I moved in with my mom to the next house to yours about a week ago.
A week? Wow, good to see you again, Greg.
Excuse me? Do I know you from somewhere? How do you know my name?
Oh boy, I wanted to kick myself for the slip. Greg and I hadn't even spoken the first time we met, so he must be pretty freaked out that I'd know his name. I'm just really good with guessing names. I am not a stalker, I swear. You can take the spot for today. I'll see you later. I turned around to make my escape, but Greg caught my wrist and spun me around to face him. My heart raced as he looked into my eyes for several seconds before he asked in a very low voice,
Why did you run away?
Excuse me?
Who quit school after one day?
I realized then that Greg had recognized me. You remember me?
The white angel that I didn't get to see again? I never got your name.
I'm Perry, and I never got to thank you for standing up for me. Thank you.
That's okay, so why did you leave?
After I told him everything, he was really upset at my parents.
Why would they do that? 8 years without leaving the house?
It's for my own good. He didn't say anything afterwards, but I could tell he was really angry. My life became pretty much a fairy tale then. Every evening, Greg and I would meet at the tree and talk or play games. He would tell me about all the craziness of high school while I drank it up like a thirsty dog, wishing I could experience most of what he said. When I introduced him to my dad as my hero from the past, Dad was ecstatic and invited Greg and Greg's mom over for dinner. My mom was sulky about it. Seriously? He saved her like, what, a decade ago? And you still feel the need to say thank you? It was 8 years ago, Mom.
We're not just saying thank you, we're celebrating Perry's first friend.
A first friend that could still be nasty to her one day. Don't you think you're already being nasty to me? Sorry if the truth hurts, Missy. Despite Mom's protests, Dad wouldn't budge. Greg was coming to dinner. Dinner was super fun. Greg's mom seemed to really like me, but I could sense that she was holding some kind of anger back. The ice broke when she asked my mom, "You said you didn't have a child." My stomach dropped, and I looked at my mom in shock. Mom, what is she talking about? Dad was just as shocked. It's still for your own good, Perry. I thought it was best for people not to come here to bother you. But I will make an exception for Greg and his mom. I couldn't take it anymore. So you tell people you are childless because I am an albino? To my surprise, Mom glared right back at me. You think it's easy to have an albino child? Other kids go out in the sun and play like there's no tomorrow. But you? The moment you do, you are red and blotchy and it's just so... all of the things you could be, Perry. Why did you have to be born an albino? I was speechless at the outburst. I couldn't believe that Mom had such resentment for me deep in her heart. Before I could speak, Greg's mom spoke up. You want to know what other things your daughter could be, Mrs. Will? She could be dead. I gaped at her, and then at Greg, but he just gestured for me to calm down and listen. 8 years and 2 months ago, I lost my first child. She was albino. So beautiful. But I did the opposite of what you are doing now. In an attempt to let her live a life like other kids, I let her play in the sun with just a bit of sunscreen because she kept complaining it made her sweat too much. Skin cancer came and, well, she's gone. Greg had tears in his eyes and his mom spoke and I couldn't stop myself either. No wonder he stood up for me so fiercely back then in class. Oh, well, you see, I'm only doing her a favor.
By telling people we are childless?
Mom huffed, turned on her feet, and stormed away without so much as an apology. I didn't sleep that whole night, but stayed awake watching videos from my favorite channel, Storytime Animated. My dad knocked at my door and pleaded me to open it, but I ignored him. It was true he hadn't known about Mom's hidden hatred, but I was still mad at him for going along with her plan to shut me inside. Then I got a message from an unknown number. When I opened it, I saw it was a message from Greg, asking me to look out my window. I did, and a grin bloomed on my face when I saw that he was there in the dark, holding up a bunch of flowers.
Hey, can you come down here for a bit?
From my bedroom window, I climbed down and met him on the lawn. We said nothing for a while, staring at the stars. I'm sorry about your sister, I didn't know.
It's the past.
Is that why you are friendly to me? Because I remind you of her?
I like you very much, Perry. Not because I'm fascinated with your unique coloring. 8 years ago I was, but now hanging out with you, I have come to see who you really are, and I'm in love with that person. You have such a good heart.
My heart soared at the words, and I stared into his beautiful eyes. I love you too. When our lips pressed together, I could barely remember why I was upset.
Did I tell you my mom is a certified dermatologist? She's pursued the career a year after my sister's death, and is soon to launch a line of cosmetic products specifically designed for the needs of albinos. She would like you to be the face of her company.
What? Really? Yes, Perry. Really. I turned in surprise to see Greg's mom coming towards us with a kind smile on her face. I am sorry for ruining the lovely dinner today, Perry. I just couldn't bear seeing your mother treat you that way. It's okay. At least now I know how my mom really feels about me. She offered again for me to be the face of the cosmetic line she was about to launch, and I said yes. My rise to stardom was swift. The products Greg's mom produced was a special sunscreen that was light yet effective, and still nourished the skin and made it glow. I didn't have to wear those oversized clothes and hats anymore. Soon I was on billboards and on the front page of magazines. I was dubbed the Snow Princess. Other companies sought me out for adverts, loving how I glowed and praising my unique beauty, but I turned them down, exclusively dedicated to working for Greg's mom. Plus, she paid 10 times more than any adult could even dream of getting. At home, things between myself and my parents were still a bit tense.
What would you like to have for breakfast, Perry?
Nothing that you make. Mom and Dad argued a lot now. She even threw things at him and swore not to apologize to me despite Dad's pleas to. I am not saying sorry. You can ask me 100 times. She is just being a brat. Dad and I were still trying to rekindle our relationship, but Mom wasn't helping things at all. He was really happy with my modeling career. Mom was not. Yeah, you're a model now, but it's just a matter of months before people get bored of you. I rolled my eyes. By now, I had made peace with the fact that Mom just didn't like me. Nothing I did impressed her, and I was so done. You know what? Maybe I should just leave this place so you can truly be childless.
Can I come with you, Perry?
I couldn't believe my ears. I turned to my dad and he looked dead serious.
I think I might die if I continue living with this woman.
And just like that, we got another apartment. Mom didn't even apologize. I heard from Greg that she moved out a week later to God knows where. Good riddance. With Mom's nuisance absent, Dad and I were happier than ever, or at least tried to be. We both missed her a bit, save for her craziness. She wasn't an entirely bad person, but we tried to shake it off by goofing around with each other. The first day I attended school with Greg, it felt like I was born anew. I wore regular clothes out in the sun and my color remained as it were. Several people complimented my looks and many others squealed when they recognized me as the Snow Princess. Oh my god, you look like Princess Elsa from the animation. So beautiful. And Greg and I were going on strong with our parents' approval. We planned to go to the same university.
So you said you'd tell me what you will do with some of the wealth you've acquired so far.
Yeah, I want to give 70% of my earnings to the National Organism for Albinism and Hypopigmentation to help as many specially colored people as possible have access to proper skincare.
Wow, see what I said? You're not just pretty, you have a good heart too. Perry, you're 1 in a million, literally and figuratively.
You always make me blush. We were just about to kiss when I saw from the corner of my eye, Mom! Hey Perry, I've been looking all over for you. I really wronged you and your dad. I need your forgiveness. Seeing my mom that way, I couldn't stop the tears that filled my eyes. Truth was, I had missed her a lot. She may not have been the best mom, but we had shared some good memories. Is that all you need, Mom?
No, I need us to be a family again. I miss you and your dad. Please give me another chance.
Greg looked at me and gave me an encouraging nod, but I hardly needed his approval to rush into my mother's arms. Welcome back, Mom. Just when I was about to go on stage in front of 1,000 people, my stepsister pushed me from the back and I fell over the audience, ending up in the hospital. All this just because she was jealous of my fame. Hi, my name is Aisha and I'm from Turkey. Please like and subscribe. My parents abandoned me at the door of an orphanage. Growing up at the orphanage, the social workers noticed that my fingers were growing weirdly longer than those of the other kids. So when I turned 7, they decided to take me to piano classes.
Your long fingers might just win you a spot to be amongst the stars.
Really? That would be amazing. My piano teacher gave me daily lessons, and 1 year later, when the orphanage organized a fundraising event, I played the piano for the first time in front of an audience. After my performance, I received a standing ovation from the crowd. Then later, I was approached by a social worker and a family.
Aisha, my darling, these are Serdar and Fasan, your new parents.
I raised my eyes, and a beautiful young couple was standing in front of me. Next to them was a girl about my age, too.
Hello, dear. This is also your new sister, Fatma.
Hello, Fatma. Hello, Mr. and Mrs.
Oh, please, call us Mom and Dad.
The family that adopted me was crazy rich and took me home in their Rolls Royce. Their house was 10 times the size of the orphanage. As soon as I walked in, Fatma invited me to her bedroom. It was huge.
These are my dresses.
I'd never seen so many dresses before in my life.
Can I see yours?
Well, you just saw it. I only have this.
Are you serious? Then don't you dare touch any of my dresses.
What? Why would I do that?
'Cause you're poor and an orphan, and that's what you people do. My parents made a mistake bringing you here, and I'll make them return you.
Return me? What am I, one of your dresses to get a refund on? I left her bedroom. Fortunately, my adoptive parents were great people. They treated me equally as their daughter.
Here, my darlings. I brought these shoes for you. They are the same, so you can look like two beautiful twins.
Thank you, Mom.
But as soon as Mom left, Fatma went back to being a brat.
If you wear those shoes, I'll tell everyone that you talk in your sleep, asking for Mommy. So you better give those to me.
I don't care. Mom brought us both shoes and I'll keep mine. I might be an orphan, but I was no fool. I wasn't going to let my bratty new sister boss me around. Some months later, on my supposed 10th birthday, my adoptive parents finally bought me a piano so I could go back to taking my classes. It was beautiful, all covered in gold. They even hired the same teacher I had in the orphanage, which made me tremendously happy. But as soon as I started my classes, Fatma was so jealous that one day I woke up to find my piano all destroyed.
What happened here? Aisha, why would you do this?
It wasn't me.
It was her, Mom. I saw her.
How could you be so ungrateful? We're sheltering you, giving you everything you need, and this is how you pay us back?
Unbelievable. Fatma evilly smiled behind her mom's back. I was grounded for 2 weeks, but later they bought me another piano, and this time it was the strongest one, so no one would be able to break it. And I was back in the game. I practiced constantly for 4 years, ignoring Fatma's attempts to discourage me, and I applied for the biggest classical music festival in town. On the day of the festival, my life changed forever. When I woke up that morning, I noticed something weird. My fingers were glued to each other. Fatma! Instead of Fatma, Mom walked into my bedroom.
What's wrong? Oh my gosh! What did you do to your hands? Again, Aisha, you are wasting our time. If you don't want to play the piano anymore, you can just say. You don't have to be so extreme.
But Fatma did this to me.
Stop it! Fatma is just a kid, just like you. Don't make us regret bringing you here.
And I wasn't going to make them regret it. I got up from bed, got dressed, and decided to participate in the concert just like that. While on stage, I pulled myself together and decided not to cry in front of the others, just like my teacher had told me. And guess what? I did great and won first prize. Right when I was awarded the prize, Fatma showed up out of nowhere and joined the winner's picture, acting as the sweet sister. From that moment on, she completely changed her attitude towards me.
Congratulations, my sister. I was so wrong about you.
Well, thank you. The next day in school, she would only stick to me, telling everyone about how great a pianist I was. But of course, all this candy behavior stopped when the cutest guy in school approached me. His name was Ahmed.
Hey, Aisha.
I stopped playing immediately.
No, please keep going. I love how you play music.
I turned red, but I kept going. I felt that he was staring at me while I was playing.
Oh, Ahmed, what are you doing here? I've been looking for you.
And she took his hand and they left together. But she came back alone 2 minutes later.
Listen to me, you poor orphan. You had everything you wanted from my life. But Ahmed is mine. Do you hear me?
Is he your boyfriend?
He might become if you leave us alone. If I ever see you again with him, you'll be in so much trouble.
And she left. What was wrong with her? I mean, Ahmed was super cute. But if she wanted him and he wanted her, whatever. There's plenty of fish in the sea. But it seemed like Ahmed was more attracted to me than her because he came back the next day when I was playing the piano. I had my camera turned on for a YouTube video when Fatma came furiously.
You asked for it!
As she opened a can full of paint and was about to throw it at me, but right then she slipped and the can fell over her, covering her in yellow paint. Ahmed looked at me and then took my hand and we went out to sit under a tree in the school garden, and that was one of the best moments of my life.
Aisha, you are a great piano player. I love the sound of the music that you make. Would you like to go out with me?
Really? But what's the story with my sister? I thought you liked her.
Fatma? I only met her twice. I don't like Fatma at all.
What a moron. She did all those scenes just because she was jealous of Ahmed coming after me.
I like you.
I stared at him. He stared at me. Our lips moved closer and we almost kissed. But right then, Fatma showed up in the tree just like a monkey and threw the rest of the paint at us, making us all yellow. What the heck? I left Ahmed and ran home to tell everything to Mom. But her reaction was unexpected.
Listen, I've had enough of your lies. Ever since you got here, you started blaming Fatma for everything. Well, it's not her fault. And even if it was, she's my real daughter. Do you expect me to punish her for things that a stranger says?
A stranger? But there was more to it.
I discussed it with my husband. We think it's best if we take you back to the orphanage.
What? What the heck was that? And they did return me the next day. When they dropped me off in front of the orphanage, Fatma said,
I'm sorry. I tried hard to make it work with you, but you just won't listen.
Yes, I won't listen to the garbage that comes out of your mouth. And I took my backpack from the car and went inside. Again, after many years, I was a poor orphan. I picked up my piano lessons, and in the next 2 years, I was one of the most famous piano players in the country. When I turned 18, I was allowed to join a worldwide tour and open for the greatest piano player. Such an honor. One night after closing the concert in Brussels, I decided to walk to the hotel. On the way there, I saw a guy walking and holding hands with a girl, but when I got closer to them, I heard them speaking in Turkish, and it made me take a second look. It was Ahmed. He also saw me and stopped.
Hey, wow, what a coincidence.
And before you could say anything else, I saw that the girl standing next to him was Fatma. Well, I see that some people came out differently at the end.
We moved to Brussels in actual universities and not in orphanage classes for studies. Let's go, honey. We have no time to waste with this useless person.
It seemed as if Ahmed wanted to say something, but Fatma pulled his arm and they left. As soon as I got home, I became a little nostalgic and checked my phone for pictures and videos from when I was living with the family. To my surprise, I found a video of when I was playing the piano. And guess what? The time Fatma tried to throw yellow paint on me was caught on camera. I posted it on social media and it reached millions of views overnight. The next day, Ahmed was waiting for me outside a theater I had just performed at.
Hey, great concert. I was among the audience.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You were great. And about yesterday, I broke up with Fatma and I was wondering if you're available to go out with me.
Sure, why not? Let's go right now. I mean, I always liked Ahmed, and we never exchanged that kiss, so it was worth giving it a try. I'd gained so much confidence since I had started being in front of huge audiences, and I wasn't shy anymore. Plus, boys were standing in line for me, and I was used to the attention by then. We walked together to the nearest sushi place, sat down, and had a long chat and dinner. Before leaving, he said,
Hey, do you mind picking up the check? I forgot my wallet at home.
I would have paid anyway, but it was weird to be asked that. Anyway, I paid, and we left the place when he continued.
Hey, do you mind if I sleep at your hotel tonight? My roommate has his girlfriend over.
I did have a spare bedroom. All right, sure. And we went to the 5-star hotel where I was staying. Ahmed stayed in the room next to me. The next morning, I wanted to say hi to him, but he had disappeared together with all my jewelry and some cash I had in the drawers. What a piece of wood! I called the police and they came quickly and started an investigation. 2 days later, they caught Ahmed and deported him back home. The next day, I was going to perform at my last concert in Brussels. When I was about to go on stage in front of 1,000 people, the audience suddenly started to change their mood and they were all pointing behind me. When I turned around, I saw the devil running towards me.
You made Ahmed leave! You also leave!
She pushed me and I fell over the crowd. I broke an arm and ended up in the hospital where I spent many nights. To my surprise, Mom visited me.
I'm sorry about everything. I saw the video you posted. So many things I didn't know about my daughter. We sent her to a rehab center. She needed professional help. But we are grateful you were always so calm and patient. I guess it's too late now to ask you to come back to our family since now you have everything.
I learned a lesson. That in life, you never know how things might turn out. That's why I'm glad you're keeping the door open for me. She smiled and left. After 50 years, when my adoptive parents passed away, I heard the news while playing in Beijing. Later, I received a letter saying that they had split all of their possessions between me and Fatma, besides the house. That belonged to me now. I decided to turn it into an orphanage for kids under 10.
Hello, I'm May from Thailand. Please like and subscribe. I grew up in a wealthy family, and my parents gave me everything I wanted, except freedom. My mom watched my every move, and when she couldn't do it herself, she employed someone to do it. I'm not even kidding you guys. When I was 17, I came home from school to find a house full of guests. Uninformed servers were busy loading tables with all kinds of food. Mom, what's going on?
May, darling, come sit next to your father and I.
Sitting across from Mom was a scrawny-looking boy about the same age as me.
May, the king and queen are here to ask for your hand in marriage. This is their son, your future husband.
I burst out laughing, but stopped when I realized that no one else was laughing with me. Wait, you're serious?
Yes, now say hello and behave yourself.
I shot from my seat and grabbed the table. I will flip this table over, Mama.
Stop this nonsense, May.
No, tell them to leave now. When Mom said nothing, I tried to lift the table, but it wouldn't budge. So I grabbed the tablecloth and yanked it.
Oh my goodness, May! Look at what you just did! The king is covered in soup.
He looked hungry. A dozen servers scrambled to clean the mess while Mama fussed over the drenched old man. After 1,000 apologies from Mom, the king and his guests left. For the next couple of weeks, things were very tense at home, and Mom hardly spoke to me. I buried myself in schoolwork, and soon I forgot all about the boy and his royal parents. One day at school, I was about to open the library door when someone pushed it from the inside, knocking me over. Ugh, the boys at this school, always in a frickin' hurry.
Who are you calling a boy?
You? Who else?
Maybe you should watch where you're going next time. Anyway, here.
The boy extended his hand to help me up, but just as I was about to take it, he took his hand back, smirked, and walked away. What was his problem? Later that day, I walked into class and found the same boy in my seat. It's you again. Can you get off my seat? Shh. Did you just shush me?
Yes, I did. So what?
I grabbed his books and threw them on the floor.
Hey, that's not nice.
Just then, our teacher walked in to find us just about to go at each other.
Causing trouble already, Lunar?
Isn't Lunar a girl's name? I thought you were a boy. The whole class started to laugh. It's then that I realized how red Lunar's face had turned. She looked offended a little, then burst out laughing with the rest of the class. I was so embarrassed by my big mouth. As weeks went by, I realized that Lunar was really sweet and thoughtful. I showed her around and taught her all the things she needed to know about her new environment since it was her first time in Thailand. One day, she put a whoopee cushion on my seat, and when I sat on it, it let out a loud farting sound. The whole class burst out laughing, and so did I. I'd have been offended if it was someone else that pranked me. But honestly, I was starting to become so fond of Lunar, I didn't care what she did. We spent most of our time together, studying and doing our assignments. I even invited her to dinner at my house once, and the whole time, Mama kept a keen eye on her. Poor Lunar was so uncomfortable she never came home with me again. One day, we were in the library doing our homework when I caught Lunar staring at me and smiling. What are you staring at?
You're so beautiful.
I blushed and tried to ignore her, but she moved closer to me. What was she doing? I got my answer when she leaned in and kissed me. I'd never kissed a girl before, so I was really nervous. After our kiss, Lunar asked me to be her girlfriend, and when I said yes, she let out a squeal and kissed me again. Just then, someone cleared their throat behind us. Scrawny boy? My name is David. What are you doing here? I'm here for you, but I see you're busy kissing someone else. I don't think your mother would approve of this.
Wait, what's going on here?
This is none of your business.
Excuse me? My girlfriend is my business.
She's not your girlfriend. She's engaged to me. Lunar turned to me, a shocked look on her face.
Is this true?
Kind of, but it's complicated.
Unbelievable.
Lunar stormed out and I ran after her, begging her to let me explain, but she walked away angrily. To make things worse, David told me he'd be attending school with me. When I got home that day, I went straight to Mama. You had Scrawny Boy transferred to my school, didn't you?
He has a name, May. Learn to use it, since he will be your husband one day.
Never!
You should be happy that he transferred to your school just for you. The two of you will get to know each other better.
I get good grades, and I have a great future ahead of me. You already know I plan to go to a college abroad. You can't do this to me.
Grades aren't everything, May. And a girl needs a husband to have a great future.
I cannot believe you just said that. Seriously, what century was my mother from? Ugh. The next morning, I woke up to find a limousine waiting to take me to school.
Hurry up and get ready, May. You don't want to keep David waiting.
I tried to protest, but as usual, Mama got her way. From that day on, I rode with David to and from the school. Lunar barely spoke to me, and every time I tried to explain myself, David or one of his guards would pull me away from her. I finally decided I'd had enough of Mama and her controlling ways, so I decided to sneak out and go see Lunar. As soon as I left my house, a black car pulled over me and the window rolled down. David, what do you want now? I know you're going to see Lunar. Yes, I am, and you can't stop me. I bolted down the street, and David drove after me, hooting and shouting at me to stop. May, watch out for the ditch. I didn't see the ditch until it was too late. I tried to dodge it, but I slipped and fell, rolling a few times before landing at the bottom of the ditch. I woke up to several hands touching me. I was confused for a minute until I realized that I was lying in a hospital bed.
May, you're awake.
Mama hugged me as she cried on my shoulder. Behind her were two ladies smiling at me. One was holding a measuring tape while the other was holding several wedding gowns. Mom, what's going on?
You were in an accident, dear. David saved you. Isn't he great?
David didn't save me. He's the reason I fell down that ditch. And who are these people?
Oh, these ladies are from the bridal shop. They're here to fit you with your wedding gown. I'm so glad you're awake.
Mom went to hug me again, but I shoved her and jumped out of the bed. Were you taking my measurements while I was asleep? You're all crazy.
You need to try on these dresses now.
I tried to leave, but Mom grabbed my hand and started to undress me. Mama, stop. I already told you I don't want to get married. You're being so selfish. Mama stopped and furiously glared at me.
Is this because of that girl you've been fooling around with?
What? Of course David had told her about Lunar.
You need to forget about her.
But I love her, Mama.
You won't after you watch this.
She pulled out a video of Lunar talking to the camera, her face emotionless.
I hate you, May. You're a coward and a liar. We're over.
No, this can't be. Lunar would never do that to me. Seeing Lunar break up with me on video broke my heart. I tried calling and texting her about 1,000,000 times, but all I got was radio silence. For the next couple of days, I watched as my mother got busy preparing for the wedding. I hated everything about it. Mama tried to cheer me up, but all I did was stay in bed and cry. My face was so puffy, I was sure I'd look ugly in my wedding photos. At the altar, I couldn't control my sobs. I cried and snorted into my bouquet. David tried to comfort me, but I pushed him away so hard he fell into his best man. Who was that guy anyway? I'd never seen him before. I held my breath when the wedding officiant asked if anyone was opposing mine and David's union. I closed my eyes and wished Lunar would burst in and just whisk me away. Just as the officiant was about to continue talking, someone in the crowd lifted their hand and stood up.
I object.
I turned at the familiar voice, and I couldn't believe my eyes. Mama? Of all the people to object to my wedding, Mama was the last person I expected to see.
May, I have a confession. I offered Lunar a lot of money to leave you.
I was speechless. I knew Mama was desperate to see me marry David, but I didn't know just how far she was willing to go.
I thought your relationship with her was just you trying to make me angry. But seeing how sad you've been since she left, I realized my mistake. I'm so sorry, honey. Please go and look for her. You have my blessing.
It's too late, Mama. She already left me.
You're wrong.
Lunar, you're here?
Yes, and I have something to say.
She walked down the aisle carrying a black bag and dropped it in front of Mama and Papa. It was full of cash.
That day David took you away, your mother offered me money. She asked me to stay away from you, but I couldn't. I love you, May. Please, don't marry David.
I ran towards Lunar and kissed her in front of everyone. Cheers erupted around us as I hugged her tightly. I guess the wedding's canceled. Even more cheers and hoots as Mama and other people swarmed around us.
So, what do you girls think about a June wedding?
Mama, would you stop? You're embarrassing me in front of Lunar. We all laughed and hugged each other. I'd never been happier. Our love won.